I would do almost anything not to have to speak to you about this tonight. Wouldn't it be nice, a dream, a fantasy, that maybe we could just talk about Adam and Eve and the story of creation on this Shabbat Bereshit, this first Shabbat of our new Torah cycle? In that fantasy, the Simchat Torah massacre wouldn't have happened, and all those beautiful families wouldn't have been torn apart. We wouldn't be mourning the incomprehensible losses and have come face to face once again with unadulterated evil. In that fantasy, we wouldn't be standing on the brink of war, holding the heavy burden of knowing how many more innocent Israeli and Palestinian lives are about to be torn apart, are being torn apart. In that fantasy, one of the many peace accords and opportunities for resolution of the last several decades would have held, and a Palestinian state would already exist, a state governed not by an extremist, violent group like Hamas, but governed by wise leaders who center the flourishing of their own people, a future all Palestinian people deserve. In that fantasy, the thousands of Israelis and Palestinians who have been working every day to birth a new reality in their land, in their shared land, a shared society, who have been bravely sharing stories and pains and hopes through dialogue and collaboration every day on the ground in all parts of the area, who have their children in the same kindergartens, and who work in the same offices, who lead the same peace movements. All those heroes would be able to continue their holy work without having to grapple with lines in the sand and the harshest of accusations of betraying their own by trying to make peace. But that is, at this moment, only a fantasy. The reality is that there is tohu vavohu, chaos and darkness before us, before them, before everyone, and there is no way out but through. Tonight we have labeled Shabbat Nachamu a Shabbat of consolation, and we call it that because that's all I want to do and all we want to do, all I have the heart to do when I look at so much pain and hurting and fear amongst our beloved congregation and our people. Bring consolation. Create space for each person to bring it to one another, because there is real hurting in our sanctuary tonight. There are people amongst us who are afraid for their families, who have been called into military service, already in grave danger, loved ones in harm's way. People amongst us whose friends or loved ones lost people in the massacres, or who are being held hostage in the pits of hell, or know people who did. I have rabbinic colleagues who are preparing to perform multiple funerals every day and to help families identify the nearly unrecognizable bodies of their loved ones. There are children and grandchildren of Holocaust survivors amongst us whose worst nightmares have come true. So much loss of Jewish life all in one day because they were Jews and no other reason. And there are so many of us who feel a deep moral injury, a constant repeating moral injury, because no matter what Hamas is or does, we long to be represented in the world by Jewish leaders who share our Jewish and democratic values. And for so long, so many of the leaders in Israel have not, especially after this most recent election. We long to build strong bridges within our American society, and those bridges are shaky on the best day because of the anti-Semitism that is embedded in our culture. But on days like today, and on weeks like this one, the magnitude of what we all feel and have not said, what we cannot say, what we cannot explain, what we cannot justify, the ways we don't understand each other here in our own community, those bridges feel like they could collapse at any moment. For all these reasons, we all need consolation so that we can move forward after Shabbat is over with a sense of resolve to do the good work that is ours to do in the world. I appreciate your trust in addressing this difficult issue, and I am not going to talk anymore about the politics of this war from this bima. I am not going to begin to claim to understand the intricacies of Israeli military operations or international aid efforts, and everything I share from this moment on is spoken with the deepest love in my heart for Israel and her people, my people, our people, and from my understanding of the Torah that forms and holds us together. On this Shabbat of consolation, this is what consoles me, and I hope it will console you too, even if just a tiny bit. In our Torah portion this week, the very first in the whole Torah, we read, of course, the story of Cain and Abel. And it goes like this. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to Adonai from the fruit of the soil, and Abel, these two brothers, Abel, for his part, brought the choicest of firstlings of his flock. And Adonai paid heed to Abel and his offering, but to Cain and his offering, God paid no heed. Cain was much distressed and fell on his face. And then God tries to reassure Cain by saying, you have a choice. Sin is calling upon you, but you must overcome it. Don't give in. But then, when Cain and Abel were in the field, Cain set upon his brother Abel and killed him. Adonai says to Cain, where is your brother Abel? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? What have you done? God says to Cain. Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Therefore you shall be more cursed than the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. And this pattern repeats itself over and over throughout the book of Genesis. In the Midrash, even the sun and the moon argue with each other about who is truly God's crown. Jealousy and a mindset that there is not enough land, or really that there is not enough love for all of us. And then acts of violence and alienation echoing that very first one that we read about this week. Isaac and Ishmael, Joseph and his brothers, and of course our namesake Jacob and his brother Esau. Esau actually articulates the tragedy of these situations in a simple sentence to his father. He sees a way out of them when he says to his father Isaac, Vayomer Esav el aviv, habracha achat hu lecha avi, bracheni gam ani avi. Esau says to his father Isaac, have you but one blessing, father? Bless me too, father. And Esau weeps. We hear that cry of these biblical siblings throughout the ages, and Esau's question penetrates our hearts as we continue these tragic patterns in our collective story. Is there really room for just one blessing? So what is the consolation tonight? That our Jewish community is not bound by the rules that Hamas lays out for us. We cannot control what they teach their children, but we do choose what we teach ours. Every time we feel sympathy, every time we cry for their children, every time we raise our voices for a better life for both peoples who live in the land that we love, every time we acknowledge the need for more than one blessing, we affirm that though they may have taken so much from us over so many years, they did not and they cannot succeed in taking away our humanity. We do not surrender that. We never will. Last Friday night, we had the most joyous Simchat Torah celebration concluding our high holidays with hundreds of us in the courtyard and our Torah scrolls unrolled surrounding our children. Many of you were here. It was a beautiful night. And then Shabbat morning happened, and our holiday was over, unfinished, but also gone. The final act in our high holiday season is to readorn our Torah scrolls, with their vestments, not the pure white of our high holiday season of renewal, but the gently colored, in this congregation anyway, the gently colored and decorated vestments of every other time of the year. So tonight, in a moment, we will take part in that ritual of finishing our high holiday season on our own terms. And anyone who wishes to come forward in just a moment to be a part of it is welcome to. We do need your hands to do this. And as we do this ritual, we will sing our prayer for healing, which is also found in your order of service. And that will be an act of rebellion when we sing it. Because we pray for those who are hurting and sick among us here in the sanctuary and in this congregation in our lives. And I know there are many of you who are bearing tremendous burdens in your own lives with your own help. And these words are for you. And we pray for our traumatized, broken, resilient, mighty brothers and sisters throughout Israel who are holding each other up after catastrophic losses. They make us proud. They astound and amaze us. And we will send all our love to them and lift up prayers on their behalf. And when we sing these words, we will also pray for the healing and the safety of the children of Gaza. Their precious lives, also ripped apart, are a source of our tears as well. And that is who we are. For the stolen innocence of all Palestinian and Israeli children, for the broken bodies of our fellow Jews who lie in hospital beds, having lost all that matters to them, for the continued strength of the first responders, the soldiers, the mothers and the fathers who are carrying an entire country's future on their backs, and for all the pain in our lives that everyone feels so heavy at this moment. We will start our year anew right now. As our Torahs are reborn on this Shabbat Bereshit, so may our resolve be. Habracha achat hu lecha avi? Have you only one blessing to give? No, we answer. There is room enough in our love for all. And may that be the greatest source of our consolation on this painful Shabbat of Shiva. Please join us in a prayer for healing. And please also come forward to take part in this closing ritual of our high holiday season, anyone who wishes. Rifa'enu Adonai v'nirafeh, Hoshienu v'nivasheya, El karov l'chol ko'av, ach karov lire'av yishov. We pray for healing of our bodies. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to once again be whole. Refuat haguf, refuat shelema, elna refana. Oh, please heal us now. Refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, refuah shelema. Heal us now. Heal us now. Hoshia et zamecha, uvarech et nachalatecha, ureim v'naseh man ha'olam. Mi sheberach avotenu, mi sheberach imotenu, ana Adonai Hoshiana. We pray for healing of our people. We pray for healing of the land and peace for every race and nation, every child, every woman, every man. El Narafana. Oh, please heal us now. Refuat ha'nefesh, refuat ha'aguf.